Welcome back for another stream, fellas. It's been a minute since we've done this. I've been trying to. I remember. I think the last one I did was like a month or two ago. Probably somewhere early May, late April. I did a stream, and I was talking about wanting to do those more often. So if you guys have never tuned into one of these streams before, I like to kind of do these to have you guys ask some questions, and I can answer them for you guys, and we'll go on from there. And I keep saying that I'll try to have a topic for the next one to talk about for the first 5-10 minutes, but that didn't happen again. But that's just kind of how it goes. Holy crap, we have 61 people already. That went quick. So if you guys have any questions that you've been wanting to have answered, whether it's how to duck hunt or tips that I can give you guys for specific things, that's definitely better than just asking a really vague question. So if you guys have something that's kind of more specific than like, how do you duck hunt? More like, what are some good tactics to set decoys or whatever? It's kind of those kind of things. Those are the questions that will most likely get picked. So if you guys haven't already, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button for me. It'll take you 2 seconds. So go ahead and smash that button for me. It means a lot. It helps out. And we'll get on with this stream. So let's go ahead and dive on in and see if we have some questions coming in here. So yeah, okay. So Garrett, he asked the question, how did I grow my channel so big? So it's a pretty simple question to answer. I got lucky and I hit it at the right time. But if you guys are looking to make videos and gain subscribers and get views and whatever, the best thing that you can do is just post videos. And that's all I really did. I didn't do anything special. I just posted videos and kept doing my thing, and eventually people caught on to it and found out what I was doing and hit the subscribe button and started watching. So the best thing that you can do if you're looking to start making videos and get subscribers and views and whatever, just do it to post videos. And a lot of people get caught up in the views and the subscribers, which that's kind of a perk to see that growth. But when I started, I just posted videos for myself, really. I just filmed my own hunts and posted them. And that's the best thing that you can do. Don't get caught up in the subscriber count and the view counts. Just go ahead and post the videos just for your own enjoyment, and it'll give you a chance to look back on your hunts and watch them later on, which is probably one of the biggest perks to what I do. Is I get to go on some amazing hunts and I take some awesome videos of them, and then like right now, if I wanted to watch a video from last September during teal season, I can go back and watch it. So don't think of it as growing subscribers and getting views. Just post it for yourself, and if you keep doing it and you make your content better as you go along, people will catch on and you'll gain a following. So let's see. So how do you know when to adjust your decoy spread? That's a pretty good question, actually. I'm sure you guys are going to all ask good questions, but knowing when to adjust your decoy spread is actually a really important part of duck hunting. And there's one particular way that I could guarantee you to look for. There's like one thing I can guarantee you guys to look for, and it's probably going to help to adjust your decoy spread, is if the birds are landing short or the birds aren't necessarily committing all the way. Go ahead, and it really kind of depends on what they're doing. But a lot of times, if you just open it up a little bit more, birds will a little bit better. And there's been times where when you set a spread at night and you have a headlamp on, your decoys are just so close together. Sometimes the sun starts coming up. I'm like, oh, geez, this is not good. So the best thing to do is make sure your decoys are spaced out a decent amount, especially in a field. If you're in a field spread, I like to try to put my goose decoys like, I don't know, 5 feet apart from one another. That tends to help out quite a bit. And if you're running less decoys, like if you're somebody who only has like 24 decoys, it helps to space them out and it makes the spread look a little bit bigger. And when I was running a smaller spread, that's what I tried to do, is make sure to put space between the decoys, because when they get cramped, it makes your spread look a little bit smaller. But for when you're hunting on water or the birds, there's something that the birds just aren't wanting to commit for. Take some time to just readjust. Read the birds; they're going to tell you if they like the decoy spread or not, and that's usually one of the first things that I do. Is if the birds aren't doing what I want them to do, I adjust the decoys based on what they were doing. So watch the birds, try different things. Don't be afraid to switch things up during your hunt. It could pay off in the end. Okay, let's see. Whoa, hey there, Seth. Thanks for the donation, man. Uh, he says that I should come up to Western Kansas for a hunt. That'd be cool. I think I'm gonna be going to Dodge this fall for a weekend, so we'll see how that goes. But the farthest west I've been is central Kansas. Well, unless you want to call Colorado west. I'm talking about Kansas itself, Western Kansas. I've never been out that far west, just to central Kansas. Okay, this thing keeps moving around, so it's hard to find questions here. Um, Fairland Outdoors asks if I will ever hunt on rivers. I really want to. That's one of the things that I have never done before with duck hunting, and that's something I've always wanted to do. I've heard all these stories about ducks just coming in right in front of your face at 10 yards, and it's always on a river. And it sounds like a lot of fun. I've just never had a good river spot to go to, or I haven't been able to get access to a river spot. So hopefully in the future that's going to happen. But the reason why I haven't done a river hunt is I basically just can't get permission to hunt on a river, or there's a river spot, but it just never works out. So I've never hunted on a river, and I'm kind of wanting to do that eventually. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Oh, somebody asked if I dove hunt. Yes, I do dove hunt. I've made quite a few dove hunting videos last fall, so if you haven't seen those, go check them out. It was a good dove season this year, or this past season, and I'm really hoping that this year is even better. I've seen a lot of doves around right now, so I'm hoping that we have a good dove season this year. I think there's a good chance that it's going to be a good one. Have I ever hunted Cheyenne bottoms? Yes, I have, and I mainly go out there for teal season. I did go out for the early zone opener this past season, but I try to make it a point to make it out there during teal season. It's just pretty fun. So if you haven't done that before, I'd look into it. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Where's it? How do you keep your Texas rigs from getting tangled? That's a good question, because that's something that a lot of hunters face. The biggest thing that worked for me to keep my Texas rigs from getting tangled was tying a knot in them as close to the decoys as possible. A lot of times you see people just tie a knot in the middle. I get them all up, put my hand down as far as it goes on the decoys, and then tie a knot and bring it down right to the tops of them. And then that kind of helps out with tangles. And the other thing you can do is switch to lifetime decoy rigs. I really like them a lot because they don't have line memory. And the main reason why most Texas rigs get tangled is because of line memory. So the lifetime decoys are made out of a cable, so they don't kink, and they're just really flexible. I just made a video on them. I think it was like last week or something. But not having the line memory in there helps out with tangles as well. Have I gotten to use my bow yet? I haven't. I don't know if I will. My main thing that I think that I want to do with it is make it a bow fishing bow. So I've got to find a place to bow fish, and I think that'd be kind of fun. Evan, thanks for the donation. No, not even a question, man. You are a generous person. Let me tell you, I really do appreciate you guys. What's my favorite gun to shoot ducks? I don't really have a favorite one. I like my semi-automatic a lot, but taking my over/under on a duck hunt was a lot of fun as well. So I want to take my over/under on another duck hunt this year. It's just got to be the right one, because I don't want to get that gun all beat up with like hunting in a marsh or in the kayak. So I've got to be on like a farm pond in the layout pond, so that I can kind of take care of it, since it is a wood stock gun. But that gun's kind of fun to shoot at ducks. But mainly, it really doesn't matter to me what I shoot. Landon, thanks for the donation. Would I ever want to shoot a European widgeon? Yeah, that'd be cool. Good kayaks for under $600. I don't know. I can't help you out with that one. If you're looking to spend between 600 and 1,000, that's kind of the range that I would recommend spending for a duck hunting kayak, just simply because stability. And I've looked at a lot of kayaks at Dick's and Academies and Shields and Bass Pro and all that, and a lot of the ones that are under $600, they're either recreational kayaks. They mainly are just recreational kayaks. So I would recommend getting a sit on top fishing kayak and using that to duck hunt, simply because they're a lot more stable and you're able to put a lot more gear on them. And they just, in my own personal opinion, just thinking about using one of those recreational kayaks, it's probably going to be a little bit more difficult than the sit on top models. Now, my canoe that I use, it's got like an open hole design, and it's a little cheaper than the kayak that I use. And I really do like it. And the blind that I used on my kayak fits it way better than it did on the kayak. So I'm really looking forward to using that. Ooh, Davis Outdoors. Good question. Advice for building a field spread on a tight budget. Well, there's a few things that you can do. Um, I would recommend looking on Craigslist or Facebook buy sell trade, see if people are selling decoys. Right now, there might be some people selling them, but the best time of year to look for them is at the very end of the season. So a lot of people try to sell their old decoys to get new ones for the next season. So that's usually a time where a lot of people post their decoys. Now, another option you could go to is looking at Bulk Decoy Club. They're decoys that I use in my field spreads, and I really do like them a lot. You get a lot of bang for your buck with those because you get 6 full bodies for $100, and I really like them a lot. They're really lightweight, packable, and if you just buy 200 or not 200 of them, if you buy a dozen of them, it's $200. So all you need is 2 dozen to really get the job done. If you are on the X, if you are where those geese want to be, you can get the job done with 2 dozen field decoys. So $400 for 200 or for 2 dozen full bodies. That's all you need. That'll get the job done. That field spreads can get very expensive, but I like to think of it as an investment. So I would recommend checking those options out. Landon, thanks for the donation. I really do appreciate making videos for you guys as much as you guys like watching my videos. Connor wants to know if I would hunt in Utah in the future. That's actually on my bucket list. I want to hunt the Great Salt Lake. So hopefully that will become a possibility in the future. And, it just looks like a lot of fun. It's something different. The different places I've hunted was Missouri, Kansas, Nebraska, and Colorado. So going to the Salt Lake would be a completely different experience. And, hopefully within the next few years, I'll get some more opportunities to go travel different places. I think Texas would be fun, going to Arkansas, Alabama, Louisiana, South Carolina, some of those states that are primarily known for duck and goose hunting. I think it would be a blast to go. Jonathan, thanks for the donation. Says he's been here since the beginning, and I'm his favorite YouTuber. Thank you. I really do appreciate you guys watching my videos. Would you be interested in coming to Michigan for salmon fishing trip? Salmon fishing would be a lot of fun. That would be a lot of fun. Landon, thanks for the donation. I really do appreciate it. Okay. Candace asks a question that a lot of people ask me on like YouTube comments or Instagram or Facebook messaging, and he wants to know what camera equipment I use and what software I use to edit. So I use a Canon 80D now. I started on a Nikon 100, then I upgraded to a Nikon D50-200, and then I upgraded to the Canon 80D. And so I started small with kind of like a budget camera, and then I worked my way up as I started making more money on the YouTube channel. I reinvested it in myself. So the camera equipment is the DSLR, which is the Canon 80D. Then I use my GoPros, and sometimes I use my phone, but that's primarily the main camera equipment that I use. And the software I use to edit is Adobe Premiere Elements. And the reason why I use Premiere Elements is because you can get a combo Photoshop and video editor for like $90, and you don't have to pay a subscription fee, which is monthly. So it's a little bit more budget oriented. Would I ever do fan mail? Jake asks. I did do fan mail before. I had a PO box open for a long time, and I got a lot of people sending me stuff in the very beginning, and then after that, it just kind of fizzled out, and I only had like, I don't know, 4 or 5 other people send me things on the PO box. So if that's something you guys want to actually do again, and you guys would actually send stuff, then I would be more than willing to open one up. It's just I have to pay money to get the PO box open. So if nobody's sending me anything, it's not worth me paying the money to do that. But if you guys would be interested in doing fan mail unboxings and you guys would send me fan mail, I'd be more than willing to go and open up another PO box. Um, so let's see. Do I like gas or inertia guns more? I've never used an inertia gun, so I have no like personal experience with them. But I shoot a gas operated semi-automatic now, and I really do enjoy it. And it was the gun I shoot is a Winchester SX4. I think I paid like $900 for it, so it's not the most expensive semi-automatic on the market, but it's definitely held up, and it's seen use and abuse so far, and it's done really well for me. But I think if I was to get an inertia gun, it would either be a Benelli or a Browning. So that's just what I'm thinking. Will it happen? I don't know. Ooh, Braxton, that's a really good question. He asked me what brand of floaters I use. Well, I use about 4 different brands of floaters in my decoy spread currently. It's just like I buy a box and I just replace the old ones, like the ones with holes in them. They're like they don't float anymore, so I replace them with some new ones, and then I just kind of rotate them out once they're all like shot up and done, pretty much. So, um, the ones I have on my decoy lines right now is I think I got some hardcores, some tangle frees, and Academy decoys and Flambeau decoys. So I got a whole bunch of different decoys that I use. I'm not the type of person who only runs one currently. I just graduated college, so I don't have a whole lot of money to blow on decoys at this point. Um, let's see. Should I get a Winchester SXP for a starter gun? That's a really good choice for a starter gun, actually. I've heard great things about that shotgun, so I would recommend you picking that one up. But if you're looking to spend a little bit more money, I do have a personal experience with using a Benelli Supernova. I got one for $550, so it's a little bit more expensive than the SXP, but I really like that Benelli, and it could shoot 3.5 inch shells, which I think the SXP does too. But I really did like that Benelli a lot. Bass Slayer 95, thanks for the donation. What is the best layout blind you have used? Okay, best layout blind that I've used is the one that I currently use, which is the Green Headgear Ground Force. Before that, I had the Hardcore Man Cave. I didn't like it that much. It was a good blind, but I didn't necessarily care for it because it was so heavy. And then I got the Green Headgear, and I really like that one a lot. I like how it folds up and it turns into a backpack. It's really easy to carry. So I do like that layout blind a lot. Will Luke or Lane ever be in the videos again? Most likely not. Sorry to break any hearts on that one. What kind of lights did I put on my kayak? I put some aux beam lights on them. So if you're interested in learning more about that, I did make a video on it. So just go back in the videos. You'll see which one it was. Let's see. What Sitka products am I looking forward to buying the most? I haven't really been browsing Sitka stuff all that much because I'm pretty well content with what I've got. But if I was to buy anything Sitka, it would most likely be the waders, if anything, because like I said, I'm happy with what I have right now. But if I was to spend more money on Sitka gear, I'd probably invest in the waders because they have a lifetime warranty. And waders for me, I either get 1 or 2 seasons out of them, depending on how they hold up. The waders that I wore last season, they do leak a little bit, but they do have a warranty on them, so I'll get another year of use out of them. But I think the Sitka waders would be pretty sweet to get. I'm not gonna lie. Ooh, Lincoln asks, "Do I like the solo hunts or the group hunts better?" That's um, hmm. I like them both because when I go on my solo hunts, I just kind of get my time by myself to just do my own thing. But if I do have a group hunt, it's nice to be with some good friends and do it. So I like to kind of do a good balance between them, and especially in the kayak, it's a lot easier to do a solo hunt. So I know Adam bought a kayak and he's got a blind for it. So I think Adam and I will be going on kayak duck hunts together this next season. But if I was to do a solo hunt, it'd most likely be in a kayak, and if I was going to be in a group hunt, it'd be farm pond or a field situation. So I like them both, and I like to kind of balance the both of them and do both. Mm, the furthest distance I've traveled to kayak hunt, I don't think I've paddled more than a half a mile. I don't think. Let's see. Is there such a thing as a pond too small to hunt? No, there's not. If the ducks want to be there, I would say hunt it. There's no reason not to. I would say don't fill the whole thing up with all your decoys, but I'd throw a few of them out there. At least, I mean, I've hunted a small pond and we filled. I think we used 2 dozen decoys in it, and it worked out great. I mean, the ducks were just. I would take a small pond. I would honestly shoot a small pond hunt more than a big pond hunt, just because the ducks, they just get in so close, and like there's less area for them to land, so you're gonna be shooting them in the lips the whole day. So there's no such thing as a pond that's too small to hunt as long as the ducks are using it. Um, oh hey, Foul Fanatics 509. Thanks for the donation. He says to come to Washington State and hunt with him. Washington State sounds like it's a pretty fun state to hunt in, and I would like to travel. And maybe someday that will become a possibility. So we'll see. We'll see. Why don't I shoot shovelers? Because I'm not, if there's a lot like I think I know what you're talking about when I was talking about shovelers in one of my videos is because there was so many other ducks around and I just didn't want to shoot shovelers because I would rather shoot a mallard than a shoveler. Just personal preference because I think mallards taste better than shovelers. So it's nothing against a shoveler. On a slow day and a shoveler flies by, I'm gonna be slinging steel at it. But if there's a lot of ducks around and I know I could possibly shoot like a limit of mallards, I would definitely shoot a shovel or shoot the mallards over shovelers. So if I know there's gonna be more ducks coming in, I'll pass on shovelers. Um, let's see. Let's see. Do I believe there's any difference in a stock modified choke or a specialty waterfowl modified choke? I believe there is. I'm not for sure. I've just been told that steel patterns tighter than lead. So when you're shooting steel out of a stock modified choke, you're basically shooting a full choke. So if you're shooting a steel specific waterfowl modified choke, you're going to have more of a true patterning modified choke. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's what the difference is. Advice for somebody who's starting to duck hunt and there's not many places to go. That's I haven't been in a situation where there's not many places to go because there's a lot of public land around Kansas, and so I would say to just look for public land spots, find some decent ones, hunt them, and then once you have private land access to, but go and knock on some doors where you know that the landowner has places where ducks and geese go and you've seen there. So I would say just don't be afraid to go and ask. Bucket list bird. Hmm. I don't really have one necessarily. I know a lot of people say they want to shoot like a widgeon or a cinnamon teal or something like that, but I, I let's say a sandhill crane is on my bucket list along with a brant goose. Those two birds are some. Those are the two birds that I want to cross off the list sooner rather than later. Okay, let's see here. Sorry, I'm reading. This is probably boring when I read. Uh, ooh, Kyler is thinking about getting a subscription to the waterfowl box from Hunter's Hall, and he wants to know my honest opinion on it. Well, my honest opinion is that if you've got the money to spend on it, go ahead and do it, because I've found that, when I open up the box and I get a lot of stuff, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm definitely going to use this stuff. And some of the stuff I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm going to use it. Well, when I hold on to it, there's eventually going to come a day, and this has happened many, many times in the past, where I'm like, oh yeah, I have that thing. That's going to be perfect for this situation. And then I end up using it all the time. So when you open the box and you get some stuff, it's not necessarily in the moment where you're like, I'm going to definitely use all of this. Sometimes it's like, oh, I'm going to use this, but I don't know when I'm going to use this. But in my own personal experience, I found that more often than not, some of that stuff that I find like I'm not going to probably use, I end up using. So if it's something you want to do, try it, see if you like it, go from there. Hmm. Swamps or open water? I have never hunted in a swamp, so I have no experience with that. I've only hunted in farm ponds and marshes and lakes and fields, so never done a swamp or a flooded timber. Thoughts on layout blinds? So this past season, I used A-frames a lot more than I did layout blinds, and I enjoyed it a lot more. A-frames are just so much more comfortable than layout blinds, and so there's definitely a place where you need a layout blind, and there's definitely a place where you can use an A-frame. So more often than not, I'm going to try and use an A-frame, especially like on a farm pond. A-frame, edge of a field, A-frame. Um, and even in like a grass strip in a field, I'll use an A-frame. It just seems like the birds don't see it as easy as they do layout blinds. It's like, I think it's because A-frames haven't necessarily caught on yet, and layout blinds have. There's more people hunting out of layout blinds than they are A-frames, so they haven't necessarily caught on to it yet. So I like layout blinds for certain situations, but more often than not, I will pick an A-frame over a layout blind. Ooh, oh, Evan, hey, thanks for the donation. He says they subscribe to the Hunter's Hall. Do they ever send clothes in any of the pro boxes? I don't know necessarily. I can't tell you. I know I get the advanced boxes, and I know that I've gotten clothes in them. I've gotten quite a few jackets and some shirts and some gloves and stuff. So I don't know if in the pro boxes they send clothes, but in the advanced boxes they do. Um, do I ever hunt with the Ducks crew? I have not hunted with anybody on the Ducks crew, but it might become a possibility. So we'll just have to wait and see if that happens. How many banded ducks have I shot? I've only shot one banded duck, and that was this past season, and that was one heck of an experience. And I can still replay what happened in my head like it was yesterday. So it's never going to be the same after that. So if I shoot another banded duck, it's not going to be as special as the first one, but it was it was pretty cool. But I've only shot one banded duck. Um, okay, let's see. Let's see. Have I ever thought about getting into taxidermy? That thought has never crossed my mind, to be honest. I don't even have any mounted birds, and I don't necessarily feel like I want to get any birds mounted at this point. It's just I don't want to spend the money on it, and I don't have a house yet. So once I find a more permanent residence, then I will most likely end up getting a bird mounted at some point. I know the first bird that I want to get mounted will be a big Canada goose. So um, I think once I get a more permanent place to live, I'll get a mounted bird. But I've never thought about getting into mounting birds. I'll leave that to other people. Mine will probably look a little funny if I try to do it, and they'll end up on some website where people make fun of taxidermy. Mm. Hmm, hmm, hmm. When's my next cooking episode? That's a good question. I do have some meat that I want to get processed and cooked and do some stuff with. So I've got some chorizo seasoning that I'm wanting to do, and so I just need to find some time to do that and get some meat to mix it with to make some chorizo. But I do have some meat that I want to get processed and make into like summer sausage and stuff like that. I just haven't had the time, and I don't have a smoker to do it in at my disposal currently. So I do have stuff that I want to make, and I've been thinking about doing a cooking video. I just have not had the time. It's been basically just I've been running and running and running ever since graduation. And this past weekend was like the last big weekend for me since graduation. So I've been going hard with my personal life and everything for like a month now. So things are starting to slow down, and hopefully I will have time to do a cooking video for you guys. I know you guys like those. So if you guys have anything you want to see me make, go ahead and shoot it my way, and you might get to see it on the channel. What age did I start hunting ducks? I started hunting ducks when I was 18 years old. So I first started, well, ducks, it was 18. I first started hunting geese when I was 16, and I didn't shoot my first goose until I was 19, I believe. So I had a pretty rough start hunting because I think I made a video on this, but I didn't grow up in a family that hunts. I'm the only person in my family that hunts. So I'm pretty much self-taught. I learned a lot from reading articles online and magazines and watching whatever YouTube videos were available back in like 2013, 12. And so it's just been a lot of learning from other people and teaching myself along the way and just kind of learning things from there. But I started hunting ducks when I was 18, and I started hunting geese when I was like 16. Mm. Have I ever made duck jerky? Yes, I have. Let's see, let's see, let's see. Am I gonna get a new hunting vehicle in the future? I would like to, but I don't want to pay for it. So I've got a 2005 Toyota Tacoma. It's got like 194,000 miles on it, and it's a V6 two-wheel drive. So I would like to get a new truck for hunting. Four-wheel drive would be amazing. And I had a Ford F-150 four-wheel drive, but we sold it and got the Tacoma. And I do love the Tacoma a lot. It gets great gas mileage, and it does everything I need it to do. It just doesn't have four-wheel drive. And now that I've got the trailer, I do want something with a little bit better towing capabilities. But I'll make it work for the time being until I think the time's right to buy a new truck. But I would like to get, I've been thinking about that a lot. I'm like, man, I would like to get a full size truck here eventually, but it's not the right time yet. I see people talking about shooting with one eye open or two eyes open. I personally shoot with two eyes open. I know some people shoot with one eye open, but I think if you're missing a lot and you're shooting with one eye open, shoot with both. And you're watching the duck and you're swinging through. Most of the time, that's why people miss a lot, is because they're trying to aim at the duck. They're not trying to shoot at the duck. So I shoot with two eyes open, and I think I've got pretty decent accuracy with it. But whatever floats your boat, whatever works for you, keep on doing it. There's no right or wrong way to do things as long as you get the job done. You know what I'm saying? What brand of shells do you use for geese? I use just the Federal Speed Shock 3.5-inch double Bs. They seem to get the job done really well. And a lot of people like to use 3-inch shells, and a lot of people say that 3.5-inch shells aren't worth it. But in my own personal experience, I've found that shooting the big honkers with 3.5-inch shells, I get a lot less cripples. So personally, I like to use the 3.5-inch shells on the honkers. I just think they do a lot better job of cleanly dispatching the geese, and it's not for increased distance on shooting or any of that. I think they've got a little bit more knockdown power to them, and they just do a more efficient job for me. Mm, let's see if you guys got any other questions. I don't know how much longer we're going to be doing this. So if you guys have any questions, I'd say go ahead and shoot them over here so we can get them in here before we end the stream. Ooh, hunting in the morning or hunting in the evening? What do I prefer? Mornings are usually a pretty standard go-to for me, but it just depends. A lot of duck hunting I do in the mornings. Some evenings they're really good. I remember my first season duck hunting, like for real duck hunting. I had a spot where I would go to it in the afternoon and I'd shoot a limit every time I went. And I knew that I could sleep in, I could do whatever. If I went there in the afternoon, I'd crush it. But most of the time I duck hunt in the mornings and later season and when it comes to goose and a lot of stuff's frozen up, the geese don't like to fly in the mornings that great. That happened a lot this past season. The geese just stayed on the roost all day long and then got up to feed in the evening. So it just depends on what the birds are doing to do an afternoon hunt. But mornings are usually a go-to for me. Oh, Scott wants to know if I'm drinking Take 7. No, I'm drinking Blonde Ale by Boulevard. It's a tasting room series. I've never had it before. It's fairly decent. I'd drink it again. Okay, is calling making your spread or being in a blind/concealment? Which one is better? Concealment. Concealment is the biggest thing that you can do for yourself when you're duck hunting. If they see you, they're out. So you can have a halfway made spread and have the best hide and still kill birds. But if you've got the perfect spread and you're just sticking out, they're gonna spot you from a half mile away. So concealment is the best thing, and you can kill ducks without even calling. So yeah, concealment. Duck boat plans. My duck boat plans are just to use the kayaks that I've got. I I don't really have a use for a boat with a motor, just where I hunt. I mean, there's more places that I can hunt with a kayak than I can a boat with motor. So it'd be cool to get a duck boat with motor, but I don't necessarily have a place to use it. So it would just kind of sit around a lot. Which is better, having a mallard spread or a variety? A lot of people think that you need to have mallard decoys, widgeon decoys, pintail decoys, shoveler decoys in your spread. You don't need to. Mallards are the most abundant duck in North America. So these ducks, they're going to see mallards and be like, okay, let's go. So you can put a more diversity into your spread to help make it look more realistic. But most of the time, if you just have mallard decoys, you'll be all right. There's no reason to go out of your way to spend money on pintail decoys or teal decoys. If you just have mallard decoys, you'll decoy every duck in the world. So, well, maybe not every duck in the world. Every duck in North America will most likely come into mallard decoys. Hmm. Okay, let's go ahead and do one more question, then we'll sign off here. We're almost up to 40 minutes long here. Holy smokes! Um, let's see. I want to get a good question in here for the last one. Make it end on a high note here. Mhm. Some of these questions are too easy to answer. Oh, that's a good question. Are you going to have access to any new hunting ground this year? So I have not gone and tried to get new hunting ground yet because I did just move. But since I did just move, I will probably try my best to get some new hunting ground. So we'll just have to wait and see about that. But you know, who knows what's going to happen? I'm pretty close to the old stomping grounds, but it's going to be a little bit of a farther drive than it used to be. But I would like to find some new properties to hunt on. I think that's all part of it. Go find some new stuff to hunt. So hopefully that will happen this year. If you guys would do me a solid, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button for me. It means a lot when you guys do that. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. And I want to just say thanks to everybody who tuned in today. It means a lot to have you guys' support, especially through the off season. I know duck hunting stuff isn't really of that much interest in June, but it does mean a lot to still have you guys' support throughout the year. And if you guys haven't hit the thumbs up button, do it to it. And I will most likely be posting another video this week, so stay tuned for that one. And if you guys like the live streams, let me know, and I can try to keep doing these again. And I enjoy them. It gives me a chance to interact with you guys and answer some questions, because I know there's a lot of people that have questions about duck hunting, and I want to do my part to help answer some of those questions that you have. But that is all we're going to do for the stream today. Thanks for tuning in, and I will catch you guys on the next video.